My next guest is coming off an impressive win over Tresean Gore this past weekend, UFC Fight Night, February 5th. It is Bryan Battle back here on the program. Bryan, how's it going, man?
Man, it's going great. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I had a little bit of a war, but I survived. It came out on top. So, I'm living large right now.
You won the Ultimate Fighter, and then you had this fight. I know there was some talk about who is the real Ultimate Fighter, but you went out there and you got it done, man. Where does this win sort of rank in terms of career highlights, just to sort of put this chapter behind you?
Well, professionally, it's the biggest win of my career. Well, I'd say the tough fight was a lot bigger financially, and as far as impact on my life. But as far as uh, how people perceive me, this fight was really important. You know what I'm saying? Like professionally, like going forward, winning this fight, I feel like at least a little bit to cement me as a real deal guy. Obviously there's still a lot of work to do. I got to do a lot of improving on my part. I still got to get some more wins. I got to convince some more people with my actions, not my words. So, we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll keep on working, but it was a big win. It was a big win.
Even before the fight started, it was noticeably different how like fit you look going in there. Was that sort of a priority? Like what did you do basically? What's your secret? I guess is what I want to know. How did you get in such good shape? Because you look ripped, man, going into the fight.
Man, I mean, I tell you, there was nothing because I've been asked that a lot because obviously there was a physical difference, and it was just the ability to train more. You know what I'm saying? It was just it wasn't that I was necessarily trying anything different. It was just that I was afforded the option to do things differently, and just being able to do fighting like it's my job. It had an effect on my body. My body's still changing. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still, people are going to start saying I'm on steroids because of, how much my body's going to keep on changing. And, that's cool. I love it. But yeah, man, it was different. This fight expected to look even more different next fight.
Did that sort of add to the confidence going into the fight, just knowing that you're like, you're putting everything into this, right? You're training more, you're looking physically better. Like that's got to have an effect when you're going into the fight.
Absolutely. I mean, especially after, being on the show, um, you know, uh, being in the finale, just being at the apex during a fight night, you get to see what a lot of these guys are like, you know what I'm saying? What the kind of caliber of person you're gonna have to fight is. And, when you get to the UFC, you're not fighting human beings anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like on the regional scene, you're fighting human beings, at the UFC level, you're fighting monsters. So it was definitely something where yeah, I mean, this is the strongest and fastest I've ever been in my entire life. So just improving my overall physicality definitely played into my confidence going into this fight.
Seemed like the game plan going in was to just be the aggressor, take him out of his element. It looked like he was kind of trying to tee up on that big shot. What was the game plan going in?
Well, you always have like layers to the plan. There's always like this is like our plan A, plan B, plan C. A big thing for me was, and obviously this played out was the teeps. It was something where it's something I'm good at. It's something I've done in fights before, but watching the film, I noticed that was something that unless he had made adjustments, was going to be something that was going to be wide open just based on how he likes to stand, and he has a high shell. Um, and yeah, he didn't make any adjustments, so I kind of was able to just span those front kicks. I didn't want him to ever. I wanted him to have his feet set as little as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when he feels most comfortable, when he can really set his feet, load up and throw his combos. So I wanted him moving. I wanted him constantly thinking about things. Um, and it was kind of like a good offense is a good defense. You know what I'm saying? The more he's thinking about what I'm doing and where my attacks are coming from, the less he can think about his attacks and where his attacks are going to come from.
Was there anything about him that surprised you in the fight?
Um, I will say he probably is the best. And I've fought some big dudes, you know what I'm saying? I fought a heavyweight, I fought in some, I fought in a lot of guys at light heavyweight. He's probably one of the best punchers I've gone against, you know what I'm saying? He was he only landed super clean a couple times, but those couple times he did land clean. You know, you can go back and watch my fights. I've been hit with some pretty big shots before. And the fact that he was able to get me to buckle twice, you know, that says a lot about what he's able to do. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are looking at us where we are in our careers. He's got next level power. You know what I'm saying? He's got more power than a lot of these guys. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes moving forward.
How confident were you the judges were going to give you the fight? Because you never know, right, when it goes to the scorecards.
Um, I was pretty because you know I just especially in the third round I just worked so much harder than him. Like going watching it back, there was definitely a lot of things I could have done to really secure it for myself more. But you know, going into the third round, you know, my coach was like, "Hey, it's 1-1. You got to win this, and you got to make it dirty." And so in my head, I was just like, "All right, it's time to just grind this out." You know what I'm saying? So I knew it wasn't pretty, but I knew that I had the bulk of the control time. I knew I still outlanded him. Um, and yeah, it was just about just working. And I knew I put in more work, so I felt pretty confident going to the judges' scorecards. But once again, you never know what the judges are going to say. So I was a little nervous, but I felt overall pretty comfy.
How did you celebrate after the win?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Then that's probably a
No,
good
I
night.
mean,
Yeah.
I tell you, we went to some resort. One of the kids I teach in kids classes, parents came out and they were watching the fight with my dad and one of my teammates at a resort, and so we went to meet up with them afterwards. And so it was cool. We were just there, getting into all sorts of nonsense. Ryder actually came by. Ryder came through with Jake Shields. Shout out to my boy Ryder. Shout out to Jake Shields. That was crazy because I didn't even realize it was Jake Shields at first. I just saw Ryder, you know, we're buddies from the house. I'm just losing my mind. I'm like, Ryder, oh man, we're like, oh, I love you, bro. Oh, this fight was great. And then he's like, hey, meet my buddy Jake Shields. And then I like, because I seen him, but it wasn't one of those things where I was like thinking about him. And so I looked over, I said, oh my God, you are Jake Shields. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is crazy. So yeah, no, it was pretty cool. You know, nothing too crazy. Obviously, we didn't get in any trouble. We didn't make any headlines. Thank goodness. But it was a good time.
Anyone send you their betting slips? Because you're the underdog going into this fight. I'm sure some people want some serious cash on your fight.
Oh man, dude, a lot of people like I think I got a lot of new fans just off of people making some bread off of this fight. And it's funny because the way this fight went and the way people are still talking about it, I really wouldn't be surprised if I wasn't the underdog in my next fight. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully the people who made some money this time, they'll stick with me and we can make some more money than the next fight. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's always a safe bet when you're betting on Pooh Bear.
Anyone win any like really big money? Anything crazy? Like, some people like parlay stuff and.
So like people were definitely sending me stuff. It's one of those things where after the fight, there's just so much stuff coming in. Yeah, I like at a certain point, I just like put my phone down. And I just stopped
Oh, I
looking
bet,
at stuff.
yeah.
I'll like I read almost everything, but I don't like if someone sends me a picture, I don't like get into too much detail. So there's definitely been a lot of gambling stuff. There's been a lot of people are like, hey man, thanks, bro. Want some money off you today. Some people want small money, some people want some big money. Some people, they had their official bets. Some people were just having personal bets with their homies, you know what I mean? But yeah, I know a lot of people won some bread this weekend.
Now, after the fight, I don't know if you and Tresean talked at all, but what's the latest with you two? Because I know it seemed like on his end anyway, it was a little bit personal going in. Have you spoken to him since the fight?
Um, and it was I think, going into the fight, he was really just like reading headlines from interviews I was doing and people like maybe making me sound like I was saying things a little bit more critically than I was. Um, but yeah, no, he had convinced himself that I was sleeping on him. And obviously I wasn't. Like this was the most prepared I've ever been for a fight. And so, after the fight, we're cordial now. We're cordial again before the fight. And it wasn't really it was on more on my end just because I was like, I don't want to be your buddy right now. He likes to be friendly before fights. I was like, I don't want to be your bud right now. We can be buds after the fight. And we're cool now. But yeah, there was a little bit of heat before the fight, but nothing. It was all competitive. It wasn't anything personal. You know what I mean?
Because we did our interview, I interviewed him after, and then when we did our interview, he's like, "Oh, you're saying all these things." I was like, "Really?" Because like I don't like when our interview, you were pretty like cordial. I don't know if again, stuff can get taken out of context, but I was surprised when I spoke to him. Like he was pretty upset, and I was like, "Well, definitely wasn't from my interview because I don't remember us like even talking." You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things. So
No, it was like my coach. He kept on asking me. He was like, "Hey, are you saying anything about Trey?" I was like, "No, I'm
yeah,
just answering questions." But yeah, I think you know, everybody does that a little bit. All fighters do that a little bit, where they take something that someone says and they're like, it means something, but you got to give yourself a little bit of extra motivation. So, I'm not mad at him, even though he definitely wasn't getting what I was trying to say. But it is what it is.
when are you looking to get back in there? I know fresh win. Sort of have a timetable when you want to have that next fight.
Yeah, I'd love to fight again this summer. I'd like to fight at least 2 more times this year, maybe 3 more times. We'll see how things go. But yeah, I think the summer would be a great time. That's like, I think I gotta give myself to the end of this week before, I'm ready to start training again. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna start training, getting back in ready. I'll be ready for any short notice opportunities, but ideally the summer would be a good time to jump back in there.
And what are you doing this week? I know you're doing a lot of media today. What's on the agenda the rest of the week? What's on the victory tour?
Man, I tell you, it was cool. Today I went did a little shopping with my wife. Nothing crazy. We went and bought some clothes. She jokes around. I haven't bought myself clothes in like 10 years. So we went went and bought some clothes for myself. I'm gonna go teach kids class. So still got kids class. And after that we're chilling. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll watch some Dexter with the wife, you know what I'm saying? This week is all just like seeing my people because I've just been like war mode. So just seeing my
Yeah,
people
tunnel vision
connecting.
leading into the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, just seeing everybody. Uh, you know, I got kids class every day. Kids class doesn't stop, you know what I'm saying? Um, and just relaxing, recovering, and reconnecting with my people.
How old are the kids you work with? I was just curious.
Um, my kids class age range goes from 6 to 13.
Oh wow.
So it's
Okay.
a
My
pretty
kid's in jiu-jitsu right now. He's aged 4 to 7. And it's
yeah.
interesting because like obviously there's a huge gap between like, 4-year-old's brain and like a 6-year-old. So it's so rewarding though. Like that must be so cool for you to like, teach the future of for martial arts.
Oh man, I tell you, it blows my mind like what these little kids like. I mean, I got 2 9-year-olds in my class that do a lot of competitions. And these two, like one's a little boy, we call him Lane the Legend, right? And then Willow. And these two kids are just what they're capable of at this age. And like some of the stuff they pull off in competitions. I'm like, the way MMA is gonna be like 15 years from now is gonna look totally different than it does right now. Like these kids are gonna like take the game to the next level. It's gonna be ridiculous.
And you always take these interviews to the next level. Bryan, always appreciate the time, man. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Oh man, oof, man, so many people to thank. All my teammates that Roger, Ali, Upright, all my Shamik, all my boys. They make sacrifices behind the scenes that no one sees. Obviously my coaches Tom, Kevin, Tony, my wife Caitlin. I love you. Shout out to Jason at Iridium, Ed, Jacob, all those guys. What I'm saying, they're hustling. Making things happen for your boy. And shout out to Crown Town Charlotte, Crown Town CBD, you know what I'm saying? Helping with some anti-inflammation for your boy after the fight. Shashan Design, Cancel Couture. Yeah, man. And thank you for having me on the show, man. You know what I'm saying? Getting
Always.
to build the brand.